too. Probably should change the video capture though. Yep, wrong game. 1 sec. Cool. We'll be starting in just a few moments, guys. We're just starting the stream, so giving folks some time to show up. Hey, C-Town, how you doing? I'm dual streaming this. I'm streaming on YouTube and Twitch. I have not streamed on YouTube in 7 years, but since Twitch lifted the restrictions on dual streaming a year or two ago, I figured maybe I should give it a go and give it a shot. Might have been slightly encouraged by seeing Wolfpack do it last night. It seemed like it was working out okay for him, so why not, you know? Although I probably should have not waited till 11 o'clock Central Time to start. But, you know, that's just whatever. So we'll give folks a few minutes to show up, and then we'll get going here. Hey, Biff, how you doing? Okay. Oh, I have not actually... 1 sec. It's gonna probably cut the audio out here. I have not actually posted anywhere that I'm streaming, so probably should do that, huh? Is that not showing? Oh, okay. Cool. Interesting. So they want a higher bitrate on YouTube, which I don't think I can support as high of a bitrate as they want me to have. Let me know how it looks at it. If you guys are, if anybody's watching on YouTube, or Ragu, I see you posting there. Let me know, and it's all black right now, but here, just one moment, and I will... I usually stream at a much lower bitrate because I think 6800 is actually more than Twitch even allows. But let me know if it looks okay on YouTube, I guess. I don't have fiber, so upload speeds are always a challenge. But we'll see. Is this MicroProse's hopeful home run? I don't know how to answer that. I mean, I'm sure they want it to be good. I think C-Power to me felt like it was a little bit more mainstreamy. And obviously that launched, what was it, late last year? I think Force Admiral is one of their flagship games that they certainly hope does well. But in terms of, you know, what... where it falls in their lineup, I don't know the answer to that. Hey, Josh. Yeah, YouTube stream. It's been 7 years since I've streamed on YouTube. You can blame Wolfpack streaming last night on YouTube and Twitch for me thinking, hey, maybe I should do that. And thank you for the resub, They Gone. Appreciate it. How... yeah, alright. I may not be totally up on all the alerts as they come through, for what it's worth, so If I miss anybody's stuff, apologize for that. But we'll start the actual gameplay here in about 2 minutes. But yeah, so Task Force, they are running a Kickstarter, and it's already like over $64,000 in one day that they've raised for this game. It is, per my understanding, the intent behind the Kickstarter is not to fund this game. They're going to make the game either way. The Kickstarter is to support them launching a physical product. And so, like, if you played Microprose games way back in the day, you know, if you played Microprose games in the 90s, and this is true of a lot of PC games back then, but if you played Microprose back in the 90s, you'd be very much aware that, like, a big part of sort of people's memories of those games was that they always had very robust physical manuals and things like that. And so we live in a digital era, right? So we live in an era where nobody does physical manuals. In fact, Matrix is ending all of their support for that stuff. So it kind of feels like, you know, they're trying to be like, all right, we'll go back to the days of what we used to do, but obviously we need a little bit of extra money to do that, because selling a game for $40 or $50 doesn't budget that. That stuff's expensive. And so I think that's their justification for having the Kickstarter, even though obviously they have a publisher, so like you don't usually see publishers use Kickstarter. That's the point of the publisher, right? That's why you sign the publishing agreement, is you get advertising support and you get financial support to make your game happen. Otherwise, what are you giving your publisher half your money for, or whatever the deal? I don't know I have no idea, no insight into what Microprose publisher agreements look like, but, you know, publishers take a big chunk of your money. And so I think that could be why they do that here. But I'm going to shut up for a second, and we will start the actual recording here, and it's not pre-recorded, but I'll start recording locally, and we'll start the actual gameplay here in just a minute. Reloading, that's fine. That's what you would expect when you alternate. Hello everybody, it's the Historical Gamer once again, and today we are going to be taking a first look at the demo for Task Force Admiral, upcoming game being made by Dry Dock Dream Games, published by Microprose, and the demo just came out on Steam. Well, if you're watching this on YouTube, if you're watching the VOD on YouTube, it came out yesterday. If you're watching this live, then it came out today. And this is a real-time naval combat game set in 1942 and 43. It looks at the early war carrier actions, sort of the most famous carrier actions, really, with the exception of maybe a Leyte Gulf and Marianas Turkey Shoot. But like in terms of when the war was competitive, before all of the American industry kicked in, and that's what this particular game is going to be looking at, the carrier actions then. So Coral Sea, Midway, the Solomon Islands, some of the raids of the Marshalls and other things like that occurring a little bit earlier in the war. This game looks at those particular conflicts. They're calling it Task Force Admiral Volume 1. Perhaps Volume 2 will be, the later war, if that ever happens. But this game just released a demo on Steam. It is free. Anybody can go and download it and pick it up. And it is, I believe the intent behind doing the demo when they did was they simultaneously, as you might see by this little K up in the upper right-hand corner, launched a Kickstarter for the game. Now, they do have the publisher Microprose, as we've said, so the game should get made either way, right? The publisher's job is to backstop a game. and to advertise a game and make sure that it, the developer, they help the developer make sure their game happens. What the Kickstarter is looking at doing, at least the justification I have heard behind that, is that, hey, listen, Microprose in the 90s was famous for having really robust physical manuals, and if we want to bring a little bit back of that sort of old school Microprose. But selling a game for 40 or 50 bucks nowadays, usually the economics behind that do not support that kind of a model where you're providing physical stuff. Actually, Matrix and Slytherin games are in the process, I think, as we're speaking, of ending their support for physical manuals, which is really a shame because, like, War in the East had this, like, 300-page manual. I think War in the West had, like, this 300-page color hardbound manual. They were really cool things. And I think they want to bring a little bit of that element here to Task Force Admiral. So you get different perks depending on the tiers that you subscribe or that you donate to in the Kickstarter. There's digital tiers where you get like wallpapers and access to like custom soundtracks, which some games do on Steam, where you get like an OST soundtrack if you pay a little bit more. But then if you go up to the next tiers, that's where you start getting some of the physical goodies, physical manuals, physical postcards, the kind of things that we're talking about. Like, if you bought Falcon 4.0 back in the day, I still got a wire-bound, 300-page manual I could strap to my knee like I was a fighter pilot, if I wanted to. And so I think that's what they're trying to bring back a little bit with the manual. But with that being said, that's enough of me yip-yapping. Why don't we actually play this game? So the demo that is available has sort of 3 game modes. There's a fleet defense game mode, a battle generator, and a single scenario. The fleet defense is where you basically are in the cockpit of American fighters trying to intercept a raid that's coming for your task force. This game is like a standalone thing. The scenarios in the battle generator don't let you take command of fighters. This is very much sort of a... Right now, anyway, my understanding is the game, eventually, when the game releases, they want you to have the ability to jump into the cockpit and fly a plane and fight within your character action. Right now, the demo has the fleet defense as a standalone sort of, hey, this is the concept of it. But if you play the scenario or the battle generator, you can't do that. It's almost like they're 2 separate sort of games within the demo, just sort of showing you the concept of what that'll look like. So keep that in mind with the fleet defense. That is what they want you to be able to do eventually, but obviously right now, if you go into the scenarios, you can't do that. So you can go ahead and play the battle generator. If you go in here, you can create your own scenarios. Now, the demo is basically of the Coral Sea battle, so you have 1 or 2 carriers for the Americans or for the Japanese. And actually, the Japanese get 3, so they must get their CVE as well. But in any event, so the Americans, you can have either 1 carrier or 2. The carriers are Yorktown and Lexington. You can kind of set all of this up. You get a little bit of information about the scenario, and then it randomly generates a battle based on the inputs you put here. This isn't what we're going to do today, but this is a feature within the demo. So if you want to do that and have a little bit more dynamism to the demo, because there is only 1 sort of scripted scenario in the game right now, then you can do that. Now, if you go to the scenarios, this game has a pretty ambitious scenario list here. You can see on the left side there's different campaigns you can choose from. You've got the early battles of December 41 to April of 42, relieving Wake, ambushing Yamaguchi, payback at Tarawa. Some of these are hypothetical scenarios, like ambushing Yamaguchi. Some of them are historical scenarios, like raiding Rabaul. Actually, that is hypothetical in February of 42. But the Doolittle raid, that's historical. Or Halsey's Dilemma, maybe that's like a hypothetical Doolittle raid. I'm not sure. But you can see there's a lot of scenarios just for the early battles. Then there's Coral Sea, which has a number of scenarios. This is where things start to get a little bit larger. Then you've got Fortress Midway, which is the Battle of Midway. Again, like another 6 scenarios here within the Midway action. 2 of them are historical, and the rest of them are hypotheticals from Midway. It looks like most of them for Coral Sea are historical. And then all the way down here, you've got Watchtowers. So you've got the Guadalcanal and the Solomon Islands campaigns, if you will. So you've got Operation Shoestring, Mika and Friends, which is hypothetical. So you've got all these different scenarios. Now, you can't play these in the demo, right? This is what the full version of the game is shooting for. So, yeah, they want to have over 30 scenarios. This is going to be a scenario-driven game. It does have the sandbox battle generator, but it is at its core going to be a scenario-driven game when it does come out. The scenario that is available for the demo is of Cranes and Patriots. It is May 8th, 1942. So the second day, I believe, of Coral Sea, or maybe Coral Sea started on the 6th. I'd have to take a look. But it is sort of the second day of, like, actual fleet carrier actions going against fleet carriers. And there's a really good briefing. I love what they did with the briefing here that we're going to watch in just a second, going into kind of telling you the situation that we find ourselves in this particular scenario. You can see it is a two-day long scenario. It is I guess, a higher difficulty scenario, 3 out of 4 stars. Historical is complexity. It's kind of mid-range complexity. You've got 2 carriers, the Yorktown and the Lexington, and both of these carriers are no longer at full strength. They fought a little bit the day before. They sank the Hosho, I believe it is, the light carrier, on the day before. The Japanese, meanwhile, sank the Neosho, I think it was, the oiler, where they thought it was a carrier. But we'll get all that information here in the briefing. So why don't we just go ahead and jump in here to the briefing. And I'm just going to make one quick tweak here so that you can hear the briefing a little bit better, because the gameplay audio is a little bit quiet, and then we'll jump right in here. 1 second.
It's early morning on May 8th, 1942. Task Force 17, under the command of Vice Admiral Fletcher, has been roaming the Coral Sea for 7 days in an attempt to prevent a Japanese invasion of Port Moresby. The carriers USS Yorktown and USS Lexington were quite active and successful the day before. The American air groups managed to sink a light Japanese carrier with minimal losses, forcing the invasion force to loiter in fear of facing overwhelming odds on its way around the New Guinean Peninsula. In the meantime, the American carriers were left untouched. Japanese search efforts were rendered fruitless due to a number of mistakes and communication hurdles. Despite being spotted, Task Force 17 managed to escape the attention of enemy air power, as bombers from Raval focused fruitlessly on the Anzac Surface Combat Squadron, led by Admiral Crace, standing guard on the road to Port Moresby. As for the main Japanese carrier force, they attacked in droves the oiler USS Neosho and her escort USS Sims, mistakenly identifying them as a carrier force. Realizing their blunder, the Japanese aircraft launched a late afternoon search and destroy attack against the American carriers. Lost in bad weather, they were intercepted by American fighter cover and suffered crippling losses. Plus, to add insult to injury, they came across their target in darkness on their way home and even tried to land, mistaking the American carriers for their own. But the Americans know that it was far too much luck for one day. Admirals Tagagi and Hara are going to be doing everything they can to wash away the humiliation suffered the previous day and show the combined fleet that Carrier Division 5 crews are not to be trifled with. Now, Admiral Fletcher has elected not to send a surface fleet ahead so as not to weaken his protection screen and leave these ships vulnerable at daybreak, a move he will be heavily criticized for in the coming weeks. It's now up to you to decide what to do next. The position of the enemy carriers is estimated to be within combat range northeast of Task Force 17's current position, but no one can predict with any accuracy the moves of the enemy. Enemy opposition is deemed challenging. The Japanese air group's been badly hurt by their ill-advised evening attack hours ago, but they are still going to be packing a punch. Expect to be going toe-to-toe with about 60 to 70 enemy Zero fighters, dive bombers, and torpedo bomber crewed by professionals, some of them veterans of many campaigns. As for the Americans, your own air groups are in good shape, but are still suffering from a low number of available fighters, which will force you to make some tough calls. Should you escort your bombers as a priority, or protect your carriers? It's your job to figure out how to best prepare for the first real carrier-to-carrier engagement of the war. Your objective is to seek out the enemy carrier force, engage it, and inflict heavy damage to force the Japanese Navy to abandon its move against Port Moresby. You're to retire to the south at the end of your operation. Good luck.
Wow, that was a lot. One sec. Yeah, okay, that was a long briefing, but I think it was very well done. It felt, one of the things, and I won't go too far into this, but one of the things I always feel like with war games nowadays, and honestly even Sea Power a little bit, is like the icing around the cake always feels so haphazard, right? Like even if a game looks great like Sea Power, the briefings, the atmosphere, it just doesn't feel like the game has a world that you exist in, and it doesn't feel like games set the stage. I think Battlestar Galactica Deadlock, or whatever that Slytherin game, is a perfect example. Great space combat, but the menus, the briefings, everything around it just felt so cheap. And I think that's, and again, I won't go too far into this, but I think that's one of the things that always stood out to me about Sid Meier's Gettysburg, and one reason that I think is so good is because you've got, but for every scenario, you've got these briefings with voice actors and graphics where they're indicating what's happening on the map. They're talking about the battle as if they're in it, and that just brings the whole thing to life in a way that Sid Meier's Antietam didn't, Scourge of War never did, Ultimate General never did. And I know those are like minor things from a gameplay perspective, but they add so much to a game in terms of making that feel like, oh, this isn't just a shoestring game made by someone in the basement, which is fine because I enjoy games like that. But I think that's one of the things, like, you get flavor and character and polish and production value in any other genre except in, to some extent, strategy generally, and definitely in war games. And so I really appreciate what we saw here for the briefing. But you can also see there's a full briefing here, optional, that you can read through. A lot of information, pretty much all the same stuff that they told you before. You do have surface assets here, so it goes into the Task Force 17 under Rear Admiral Fletcher. I think he gets a little bit maligned, maybe unfairly, during his career during World War II. He kind of is like in all the key carrier actions early in the war and then just gets shunted off because King doesn't think he does a good enough job of being aggressive, and I don't know, he feels like he's a little bit of an underappreciated character. Spruance, obviously, and Halsey massively surpass his reputation, and they were great admirals in their own respect, but I do think put a little bit of respect on Fletcher's name. He was in all the key battles that turned the tide of the war, and I think that says something, even if maybe he wasn't as aggressive as some people would like. But you can see here we've got two sort of half task forces, Task Force 17.5 with 2 carriers and 4 destroyers, and then we've got 5 cruisers and 3 destroyers also supporting under Rear Admiral Kincaid, all under the 17th Task Force. Air assets here, you can see if we scroll down here, we have 14 F4, F3 Wildcats. Those are our fighters. On the Yorktown, we've got 17 on the Lexington for a grand total of 31 fighter aircraft, which is very, very small. The game does tell you that in the briefing. You don't have enough fighters. 31 fighters is not enough to defend your fleet against an enemy rate of 50 or 60 aircraft, let alone trying to escort your own aircraft in their attacks. And that was a problem in terms of, do you send your bombers out unescorted? Do you send them with a skeleton escort but make your carriers vulnerable because you don't have enough to go with them? On the attack aircraft, we're in better shape. The Yorktown has 2 squadrons, VB-5 and VS-5, I guess, 32 SBDs, those are dive bombers, and 9 TBDs, those are torpedo bombers, on VT-5. The Lexington also has 2 dive bomber groups, 15 and 18 respectively, and then 12 torpedo bombers in VT-2. So you've got 33 dive bombers on the Lexington and 12 torpedo bombers. All told, you have 117 aircraft at your disposal. I should have read this down here. Oh, I was doing the math in my head, and it's like, oh, it says this right here on the screen in front of me. 31 fighters, 65 dive bombers, 21 torpedo bombers. I guess even though Port Moresby has a new number of Army and Australian air assets at their disposal, they're dedicated to the defense of the base and are currently searching for the enemy invasion convoy. This is a sensible choice, considering that our poor coordination until now makes their added value in the event of a carrier duel, especially so far south, rather questionable. And also, if you look at what happened at Midway, other than claiming credit, other than B-17s claiming that they won the battle by themselves, the air out of Midway didn't do a whole lot. Let's see here. The main opposing force remains what is believed to be a carrier task force centered around the modern carriers Shokaku and Suikaku. I think I'm pronouncing those correct-ish. And then some other escort carriers with them. Large enemy composite carrier air group mirroring ours, anywhere between 60 to 80 aircraft of all three kinds. Recent encounter with our fighter cover probably reduced the complement of one, if not two, bomber squadrons, which should put us in a favorable position of relative superiority in terms of sheer bomb load. But, you know, in all of these earlier carrier actions, it was about who got there first. Also expect further coverage from Rabaul, Tulagi, Shortland Islands by long-range bomber and heavy seaplanes. Oh. Some shipborne seaplane activity just north of Luisides is highly likely too. Okay, well, I mean, this is a 2-day-long scenario too, so let's go ahead and jump in. We've been going for almost 20 minutes on this recording anyway, and we haven't actually done anything yet, so. I don't think either of the Japanese carriers took part in Midway, did they? Okay, fine, Skeptical. The PBYs at Midway did fine. I'm mostly talking about the attack aircraft at Midway did nothing. Yes, the reconnaissance aircraft at Midway, absolutely valuable. All right, so you can see here we are on, I guess, maybe the command bridge. You've got a map here. You've got fleet management screen here. And this is sort of the main 3D image within the ship of the, that you get in this game in terms of clickable stuff. A little bit like Destroyer, the U-Boat Command, or even Silent Hunter in terms of like, all right, you're in a room and you got stuff to click on, but you don't like walk around the room or anything. So if we go to the fleet management tab here, just go ahead and double click here. This is a pretty cool little indicator. Like the center of the entire task force is around the Yorktown CV5. We've also got Lexington up here, and then you can see all of our escorts sort of circled around here. One thing I would like them to do is to make some of these menus clickable and draggable, because I can't move left or right to like center this. And I can minimize windows, but that's not always what I want to do. In any event, you can use your mouse wheel to scroll in and out of the task force to get closer or further. You can also go ahead and edit your formations here in this formation editor. If we go ahead and we edit this, we've got one preset right now, which is sort of this formation that's laid out here. But if we go ahead and edit the preset, we can like move these different groups around here and put them at different ranges. If we like hover over and drop them on one of these bands here around the task force, it'll move that whole selection, that whole I guess group of ships around to that location. So can I move the Lexington out? No, the Lexington's anchored to the Yorktown, isn't it? So you can't move that. But you can take these destroyers here, the Morris, which I believe has 4 destroyers with it. And if we wanted to put them way out here as kind of a screen, we could do that. You can see all these different destroyers then move out to the outer ring. We could move the Chester and her 2 other cruisers in. And you can see, you can make those changes if you will. Different scales, 5,000, 10,000, and whatnot. We're not going to change anything with that. I think I'm fine with this. It looks like this task force, if enemy aircraft are approaching from either flank, they're going to have to go through a wall of 5 to 6 ships on either flank. If they're coming from ahead or from a stern, a little bit lighter, but again, even if they're coming up from the rear, they go over a destroyer, and they're probably getting hit on the flanks from 2 cruisers and some destroyers along the way. So this feels like a good layout for our task force. I don't really think I need to change anything there. Meanwhile, also fleet information. So we can go here and we can see different information about the ships within the fleet. So if we click on the ships over here on the left side, we can see this task force 17.51 is the flagship is Lexington. Is that for the whole thing? Right, yeah. It's also for the whole shebang. But if we click on the ship, we can see Yorktown's captain is Elliot Buckmaster. It's in formation. It's part of Task Force 17. We've also got the... did I just change the Oh no. So the whole task force is, as I said, Yorktown. Lexington is for some reason the sub task force head flagship, which doesn't make a lot of sense to me, but whatever. We've also got Captain Frederick Sherman, who's the captain of the Lexington, the CV2. You've got information about the ships here as well: propulsion, steering, ammo, all green, all full, no indication of any flooding, fire, or whatever damage. You've got different information here, which if you were in an engagement, it might tell you gun target, torpedo target, are your lights on, are you dropping smoke, are your searchlights on, all of that kind of jazz. Not really relevant right now because it is 3:42, not the hours, it is 03 about to be 04 hours. So it's in the middle of the night, boys. It's like, 12:04, if you will, in 12-hour terms. But you can also click on some of the stuff here to see where information is on these ships. So you get the little graphic down here of each ship you click on, and then if you want to see, hey, where's their ammunition and their weapons, you've got all of this information here that show up as little green dots. As ships take damage, those could change colors to indicate they're out of action or they're damaged. You can see, like, hey, these are our sensors. Like, what does this look like? So you've got these different sensor sections here. Here's the different gun platforms. You've also got, I guess, what are these? Main guns and then secondary or anti-aircraft guns. You've got aircraft items here, so elevators, hangars. You've got propulsion items here, so different shafts and boilers, and repair facilities here, pumps, damage control sections. And then I guess maybe this would show any fires or flooding if we clicked on this, but there's nothing there right now. So a lot of cool information on these graphics down here that is nifty. We already did the formation editor. Defensive air ops we'll talk a little bit more about later, but you can create combat air patrols. Can't really do anything at night. I mean, I could, but they wouldn't take off till the sun comes up, so not a lot for them to do right now. And then you've also got fighter direction here where you can see the different patrols that are out and what are their orders and who's in charge. And you can automate this. Fido is in charge right now with this little check mark. But if you want to manage it, if you want to manage scrambling fighters, defending the base, focusing on torpedo bombers or dive bombers, if you want to issue those orders to your fighter groups, you just unclick this and then whichever one is relevant pops up and you can choose those orders. This game does a really good job, in the demo anyway, of automating key functions so that it doesn't require you to micromanage. In some sense, it can be plan your missions, send your aircraft out, and then watch what happens. Very much more of like a task of a task force commander, or even just sort of a CAG, and less so like a micromanagey, tell every single ship where it should go and what it should do. You're the commander of a fleet. You don't need to tell where a destroyer individually needs to shoot. But you might give other orders, like when you want to launch an airstrike. So pretty neat there as well. If we go, so we already looked at fighter direction, defensive air ops. We go to the plot. So you can see here, this is where I wish there was more ability to move menus around. So you can see I can move the map up and down. This map doesn't really go left or right, which makes me feel really cramped with the task force off center here. But based on our intelligence last night at 2100 hours, enemy carriers are estimated to be in this red circle. Our own task force is down here. And apparently we've got a waypoint we're transiting to. I don't know if I can order where these guys should go. Yeah, you can add waypoints. So you can order your ships where you want them to go, in terms of the task force. But the task force is down here, and then you've got the the plot map up here. So presumably this scenario is really going to be focused around the carrier action. You can't even scroll all the way over to Moresby's, so I assume we're not going to be worrying about the invasion task force at this time. So that's the plot map, the strategic map. 3D world view, well, it exists. We should probably wait till the sun comes up, because right now all I can see, and I hope you can see it too, is a few stars, and that's about it. So we'll wait till the sun comes up on that one. Flight deck. This is a really cool feature. If you click on this, you can see where all the aircraft are in your ship. So down here, floor capacity, 35 out of 60. I'm assuming those are the aircraft on the hangars. So 20 in the hangars, 20 on the deck. You can see where the aircraft are located on the deck. You can see the aircraft in the hangars. And then you can see, like, as you issue orders, they'll start moving around this icon here based on where they're at, whether they're spotting, taking off, whatever. You can also see a deck timeline that shows you all the missions that have been ordered. We'll see that a little bit later. Mission chart. This looks like it's pulled straight out of a ready room on some of the museum carriers I've been on, where you can see this. You can switch between the aircraft carriers. They have different, silhouettes, if you will, based on the carrier you've selected, different images here. And then you can see the different types of aircraft that are there when you hover over them as well. You can also see squadron information. So you've got VF2 with 17 aircraft, but 20 pilots. So I don't know if this game yet has the ability for a pilot to be injured, but to land and then maybe need to replace the pilot or without the aircraft. Like, I don't know, but in any event, you can see we got more pilots than we do aircraft. Which is, I think there's always this notion that folks have in a lot of movies is like every pilot has their own aircraft. It's like kind of, but not really. You could get assigned to multiple different aircraft when you're in the military. You don't always get just one. You might have your name on one. Doesn't mean you're always the person flying that aircraft. But in any event, you've got this information here. Stores don't appear to be in the game yet. I don't know if that means like eventually you'll have a limited number of torpedoes or bombs or things like that. But yeah, so that's a tab. But I think right now, honestly, it probably makes sense to, like, I can't really do a whole lot because it's dark and this is a carrier game. Oh, cool. Now we can see the carrier in the dark. Where's the moon? Is there moonlight? I don't see any moon. I wish you could, like, look. Maybe you can. Maybe there's a way to. Yeah, I don't. It seems like I'm anchored on this. There's a free cam to an extent. I'd like to be able to, like, look up at the sky, but I just end up in the ocean when I try and do that. The camera maneuvers on this game are not entirely intuitive for me, but whatever, that's a very minor gripe. Let's go ahead and do time compression and move forward here, and I'll show you planning missions and things like that in a sec, but let's get closer to daylight, and we'll let our ships move along here. Looks like we're moving at 14 knots, heading 180 degrees, and we got to get closer to about 5:30, 6 o'clock before anything will start happening. You're not launching night operations in carriers at this point in history, so no night caps for our cruise here. R and F is go up and down? Okay. I could pre-plan flights, yes, but they won't start spotting the deck until closer to 6. So there's no real reason to do it at the moment. But yes, I could. So like if I click on search here and I wanted to create a search plane, and I guess we might as well do it while the clock runs. You can see here I think we've got an excess of SBDs more than anything. So we're going to use SBDs as our scout planes. We'll use the SBDs. I think the Yorktown had a few more, if memory serves. What has it got? 55. Lexington has... Oh, yeah, Lexington has more aircraft, actually. So let's use the Lexington's SBDs here. We'll patrol at just the default 13,000 feet. Take off at 6:01. That's kind of the earliest I think we can do. And then let's go ahead and set a search pattern here. So you can see you've got the search arc of where this aircraft is going to search. We think the enemy's out this way, but we're going to do more than one search aircraft because who knows if they're really there. We're going to create a couple of search missions, all off the Lexington here, all with SBDs because that's the aircraft we've got the most of. I am going to have some overlap on these patterns just because I think it makes sense. Like, this is a really wide search arc you can see here for a single plane to fly. And so I think it makes sense to have kind of multiple overlapping arcs. They're going to fly out on one of these lines, fly back on the other. So they're not going to see anything right here probably if there's something there. So let's do that. And then you can also change the range. Like if you wanted them to have a shorter range, you can use the button here. And you can see the check mark represents the max range. The solid mark represents the actual. Let's go ahead and pause or slow things down here now that you can see we're starting to get close to missions starting to operate. So we're at 5:20. But let's go ahead and do this. This is I wanted to do all Lexingtons. So let's go ahead and send another SPD out to Lexington, and we're just going to keep setting these search patterns up. I'm not going to do like 20 SBDs out on search missions, but we'll do 6 or 7 to have a nice coverage of where the enemy might be. All right. I think that's enough. What is that? 5 searches? We got multiple different, and each, like, I think the far left line is the outbound flight, and then the far right line in those cones is the inbound. You could change the width of the radius as well, I believe. You can have multiple aircraft go out also, so you could do that too. But I don't know. I like the idea of just mapping it out like this, and you can see where they're going to fly, and they'll start radioing stuff back to us, hopefully before too long. Now, we did put all these, actually 2 of them are on the Lexington. I put the other 3 in the Yorktown. Wasn't paying too close attention there. So you can see down here on the lower part of the screen, this represents carrier deck activity. So this little marker here, and you can make the map bigger or smaller based on, you know, whatever you want to see. But you can see here right now we've got the Lexington's flight deck selected, and you can see starting at 5:55 a.m. they are going to begin to spot the aircraft on the deck. Now, we saw on that graphic that the aircraft are all pushed forward. So what does that mean? This is not an angled flight deck. This isn't modern aircraft carriers. So all these aircraft that are parked on the deck are blocking the ability to take off. So what they're going to have to do when they spot is they're going to have to go ahead and pull these planes all back to the rear of the aircraft carrier. The planes that are going to take off will take off from the front of the carrier, and then they'll push all these planes back to the front of the deck in order to make room for the planes to land when they come back. So those are flight deck operations in this era, and you can see it's going to be true for both of these aircraft. I don't know if you can, like, can I move some of these aircraft down under here? Like, can I put some of these guys below deck? I don't know if I can right now. It would be nice, because I've got room, because these aircraft carriers have all taken casualties from the previous day's fight. None of them are at their maximum capacity. We've got 25 more spots for aircraft in the hangar deck below. Now, maybe as you get closer to that max, maybe efficiency of loading and things goes down. I'm not sure. But, you know, it'd be nice if I could just pull these guys off the deck and have... Although then you'd have to keep going up and down the elevators, so it'd actually probably be slower in some sense. I'm not really sure. Anyway, let's get closer to 550 so we can see stuff outside, and then we'll take a look at the flight deck operations as they start unfolding. Crew needs to sleep. Yeah, I mean, maybe. You can drag them under, Duke? Okay, I tried to click on it. It didn't seem like anything happened, but... It doesn't, if I click on these, it doesn't look like it lets me select them. I can select the carriers from below deck, the planes from below deck, but I don't see the option to select them on the deck. Gotcha. Yeah, so maybe the final version of the game will let you do things like, hey, keep your aircraft in the rear of the carrier at night, because I'd rather have a clean deck. You know, I don't want to have a foul deck. I want to be able to take off, but whatever. The sun will be rising. We'll see it here shortly. If we go over, actually, if we go, you want to see? Do you want to see the sun? It, like, points you directly up at the sky when you come back into the map for whatever reason. Where am I? Okay, sorry. There we go. Well, so there's the moon over here. I love the graphics in this game. Might not be like AAA quality, but damn does it look good. It just looks so good. It makes me want to be on a ship at sunrise. It just looks so fucking cool. Haze and gray and underway. Alright. Let's go ahead and speed things up a little bit. Been there, done that. Yeah, well. I love sunrises generally. Less so when it's my 3-year-old waking me up at 5:30 in the morning telling me it's morning, and I tell her, no, look, it's still dark out. And then she drags me to the window and points at the horizon, and you see just a little bit of sun peeking up over the horizon. It's like, God damn it, child. Go back to bed. All right. So it is now flight deck operations have begun. You see this little radio sort of signal icon up here. You can see here that it's going to tell us that TF-17 is heading into the wind to commence operations. You point your ship in the direction of the wind to be able to take off aircraft, especially, I don't think any of these carriers have catapults. But, I mean, you still do it today, but certainly back then, you want to make sure you've got as much wind coming over the deck as possible. And so you can see that they are slowly moving the aircraft back to the rear of the ship. Now, the game doesn't have, like, individual people on the deck doing it, so, you know, it's just sort of, you see them moving back. But that's fine. I would imagine that would be kind of overwhelming on systems, especially when you're talking about, we've got 100 aircraft on these 2 carriers. If you started to try and have, like, you know, 100 flight deck personnel doing this work, that would maybe be a little bit much. Also, we'll be able to start seeing some of our escorts soon. Actually, I think I saw one of them. Here we go. So, I think I saw a ship on the horizon. Well, this is the other carrier, and they're also beginning to move aircraft back. It is pretty cool when in World War II when you've got like the flight deck full of aircraft ready to take off for a strike. Where you literally just wall-to-wall aircraft packing the ship. They don't really do that anymore for strikes because of the way the catapults work. They need the decks clearer. At least I don't think they do. I haven't been on a ship to say. All right, so we got TF-17 heading into the wind. Now this is going to take a little bit of time. It's going to take another 5 minutes until the spotting ends. We don't necessarily need to watch that all occur. But while this is occurring, we go back to this task force map here. You can see we're pointed, we must be turning here into the wind. If you right-click on a map, you can get more information also. So if you right-click on the map, you can see the wind, which if you zoom in here and you know how to read a map, this little arrow is the direction the wind is flowing. So this to here means the wind is flowing top to bottom with a little bit of an angle. So presumably we're going to turn this task force into the wind here so we can get as much lift on the aircraft as possible. Additionally, you can see radar range for your task force. You can see AAA range and coverage here. And you can see main battery range as well. So the guns on the task forces, their range. You can see weather too. It looks mostly clear. There's a little bit of a front up here, it would appear, a little bit of cloud cover up there, and there's spotty coverage around here, but it looks like it should be a good day for spotting ships visually. And then there's also like a show contact history thing, which is not really relevant yet because we haven't spotted anything. So a lot of good information that you can get on the map in the 3D part of the game, or the strategic map view of the game. So we're still turning into the wind. We're still getting those carriers ready. The sun is starting to peek up over the horizon right now. Let's go ahead and speed things up a little bit. So you can see the work continues. All right, now you can hear the engines go. Can't really see anyone yet, though. They're ready to take off in pretty low light. Maybe they're taking off from Lexington, because Yorktown looks... Oh, no, there's one of them. One of them just took off there. I could barely see it in that light. You'll see them pop up there. I'm trying to click on them. If we click over here, we can see air units. So we've got these different search groups. And we can go ahead and click on short here, W short. He's flying his Dauntless. He has no loadout, no bombs, so he's not going to be doing any damage. As he takes off with the sunrise in the morning. Hey, look, there's a cruiser down there. Is this a Pensacola class? They got the... This is a treaty cruiser. You got the 2 stacks. Those weird-looking long 8-inch turrets. But this is one of our escorts. Kay Taylor is on deck and preparing to launch. He's not launching yet. S. Adams is spotting. But this guy's going to take off, so he's exiting this pack of aircraft back here. Give me the go-ahead, sir. Throttle up. Let's go. See us turning away from the task force. We should be banking away. We're just climbing right now. I don't know if you can... I didn't see. If we go back here and we do a search, we could check that. You can see them showing up on this map now. So if we were to do a search mission... Could we make them armed? Doesn't look like it. Looks like a search mission by default is unarmed. You can make tweaks to range versus loadout for attack strike. You know, when you're launching a strike. So if you go to strike here, you do a flight plan, and for whatever reason the strikes look different. But you could do, or no, actually, sorry, it's down here. So you could do we don't have a target, so I guess I could just pick a spot on the map, for example. And then we could go ahead and we could do warning range, it's too long. So right now we've got offensive power loadout priority. We could go to endurance, and then you would have, you know, a different loadout based on endurance here. So let's say we chose a SBD-3. With the offensive power loadout, they carry a 1,000-pound bomb and 200-pound bombs. With the endurance loadout, they just carry a 1,000-pound bomb. What about the torpedo bombers? Torpedo bombers with I think they just carry a torpedo no matter what. Oh, if you go with offensive power, they carry 100-pounders as well. Or maybe not. So if I go endurance, offensive power, yeah, they don't change their loadout, I guess. So you could do that. We're not going to do a strike yet. We're not going to assume where the enemy is. We don't know, but you can see now that the aircraft are airborne. You've got different missions that show up on the map, and if you want to... Let's go ahead and choose this. But if we were to, like, you can see the different aircraft. Some of these guys are on deck, but the guys who are en route, you can see their flight plan. So you can see these guys are going to fly outbound on the left arc, turn, and then come back, and they plan to meet up with the task force right around here at waypoint 3. I assume if you choose, and you can see this other guy's flying here, and then he'll come back around. I assume if you don't, and you can adjust these waypoints too during mission planning anyway. Well, maybe not actually. Can I adjust it before they're airborne? No, it doesn't look like it. Although we probably wouldn't want to send a radio message to any of our aircraft anyway, because it would just give away our position. And also, I don't think I really showed this here, but if we go to the squadron deck here and you want to see deck timeline, you've got this cool little... And again, if you've ever been on a carrier, the museum carriers is what I mean. For World War II, they've all got like these little like see-through glass that you can write on with like a grease pencil, and they usually have like examples of what this would look like. And it would look like kind of like this, which is pretty neat. All right, so USS Lexington's search planes are airborne and underway. Yorktown are also airborne and underway, or some of them anyway. Looks like they're trying to respot the deck. Lexington is mission spot search, mission takeoff search. Why did it look like they were adjusting the decks already to move these aircraft is spotting the mission aircraft? I don't know why there's 2 aircraft in the front here. What are they doing with that? I don't know. There you go. Nice and clear. Not a lot of cloud cover as we climb up to altitude here. I don't think I can do anything with the aircraft once they're airborne. I think I just have to trust the AI to know what they're doing. Now, eventually with the game, when they do launch it fully, they do want the ability to have aircraft be pilotable. They do have a mode where you can try that out, but it's not in this game right now. So you can see the sun's definitely cleared the horizon now, and it's getting lighter and lighter all the time now. So let's go ahead and I guess maybe go back to the 3D map and or back to the operations map and maybe speed things along as more of these aircraft get airborne and wait to see what we see. I don't want to send any strike aircraft out for a mission when I don't know where the enemy is yet. So we'll wait to plan that strike till they're out. Yeah, if Midway taught you anything, launch your entire air wing in one go. Don't do it piecemeal. Probably smart. Also, you've got these different contact reports. So these aircraft have gotten outside our radar range. So we don't know where they are anymore. We know where they should be. And if I click on an aircraft here, it will show me where it should be. You can see this little circle is where the aircraft should be. The dotted line is their course. But we don't necessarily know exactly where they are. Now, the game does have takes some liberties. I can still click on the aircraft and see it flying. But at least on the strategic map, it's trying to convey a sense of there being fog of war. You can see all these different search groups are all ingressing now on different courses. I hope I have some guys closer to the actual... Wait, we didn't plan a nav strike, did we? Is that a strike that I... Oh, shoot. Okay, what do we got here? Unidentified aircraft. It is yellow. 1 aircraft, so presumably a scout plane, coming toward our fleet. So... I don't have any cap up right now. Maybe I should, but I don't. You can create a cap, by the way. So if we go here, we go to defensive air ops. We go ahead and we set up patrol strength. We can say, what's our air cap? 4 aircraft assigned at airborne at all times. A total of 8 aircraft are sort of reserved for it. And then you can create the cap box you want by dragging things around like this. You can have them further from the carrier, closer to the carrier, all of that jazz. Honestly, because we've got the advantage of radar, I'm more inclined to rely on scrambling than I am a cap, because primarily what I don't like, and this is what happened to me last night when I played, the fact that 4 aircraft get reserved for this cap, then I don't think I can scramble them too. I don't want all of them, I just want this one group. So I think, like, that is something that can be a little bit... Maybe the game just... I don't know. Maybe I'm just bad at... Oh, shit. Did I just scramble everybody? I just hit the scramble button and there was no confirmation. And it just... Okay. Fido's in charge. This is where it's like, hey, do you know what you're doing? And the answer is maybe not. We're apparently spotting and scrambling 14 aircraft here. Can I cancel that? Is it just for Yorktown or is it for both? It's just for Yorktown. Okay. I don't see any way to cancel my scramble order. There's got to be a way. It is hostile. We've spotted them, which means they already know where I am. Well, we're going to have a cap up, I guess. Does anybody know, is there a way to, like, see the enemy on the map better? Or do I have to, like, manually try and find it? Anyway, so I don't think I can cancel this air op. I think it says edit mission. Is it because the Fido's in charge? I don't see the option to edit it. Lame. You think it's too late to launch a strike? I don't even know where they are. Where do you want me to launch a strike? Just guess? It says the Yorktown is engaging enemy aircraft. Do we know what kind of aircraft it is? Hey, flak! That makes it easier to spot. Come back here. I know I can click on it. Let's pause this here for a second. Alright, so now we can see it. Now we can lock on. It's a float plane, so it's not necessarily a carrier that is, could be a cruiser's plane, but I don't think the carriers use the float planes like that. So it's probably off one of the escorts of the carriers, but look, they can definitely see us down there. Com intel, according to message we intercepted, TF-17 has been detected by enemy air search assets. Well, now we should expect an enemy raid coming in soon-ish. We have not spotted anything yet. No report from any of our boys. Well, I already have, I'm already scrambling 14 fighters. I don't know what the fuel capacity is on them, though. I don't know how long they can stay airborne. I've got 31 total fighters in the task force. So we'll speed things up a little bit. That plane just went right by us. We're turning into the wind for Yorktown to launch its fighters. A full scramble of the entire thing. Alright, our fighters are up. I think they're just going to fly around and then land. But we can actually see here that... they're all sections of 3. What I will say is, compared to War on the Sea, the air combat in this game seems so much better. I love launching attacks with War on the Sea, but the scale of the air combat in War on the Sea is so small. I literally have 100 aircraft in this game. Now, to be fair, War on the Sea has a dynamic campaign, and this will not. This is going to be scenario-based, but still. So, the question is this. How long does it take to win this? Is it better to keep these guys up and flying? Can I even do that? I don't. They're gonna chase this. Oh, they're around here, so they're doing their little lap. If we go to operations, what I don't know is. So what is it? If I say defend the base, do they just loiter? Where are you guys going? So you can tell them to stay clear. Anyway, so this is probably going to be us getting destroyed when that enemy air attack comes. We still haven't spotted anything. Where are our where are our planes at this point? So they're already past the probably where they would detect the enemy if they're around. Maybe they'll catch them on the return flight, but we're definitely going to be eating enemy attacks here probably before I get a strike off. I just don't know if the game will let me adjust the scrambled aircraft. Maybe if they're still on the inward leg, they'll have enough fuel to swing out and go get them. I guess this is kind of a long-range cap. They're swinging around the edge of the task force right now, but... Okay. Well, this was just the scramble search pattern. This was not the actual... oh, yeah, my dive bomber search pattern. I think I was a little bit lazy. I played this once last night, and I found them right away. So it was easy. Alright, they're clearing the deck for recovery of these fighters, which is funny because I'll probably end up recovering them right when they need to take back off. Can I just keep them going? Like... They're recovering for the next 7 minutes. Well, who knows? We don't... The enemy's got to turn into the wind, and they've got to do their jazz, so... Do I have time for an attempt number 2? We haven't lost yet, guys. We haven't even taken a bomb. Chill. I mean, surface... Okay, wait, what? What? Way out over here? I don't think those are the carriers. Maybe that's the landing force. Intel spots a surface force over here, which Port Moresby is just off the map to the left here. So that would probably be the invasion task force. Can I see if we go to the actual flight group? We go to the... Who is over there? What do you see, Hamilton? A lot of clouds. Some islands out that way. That's pretty. How the hell did you see through that cloud cover? Can I just use the map controls to get down out of the clouds? 203 miles out. I don't even know if I can... Well, I might be able to launch a strike out that far. What do you see? I don't see anything. I see nothing. Should be over there, shouldn't it? Maybe it's some fog of war thing. Or they're just very faint. You want to see the view from the cockpit? Hey, dude, how you doing? Okay. All right, that's cool. It's a goblin. He does look a little bit like a goblin. It's got a real bad... So one of the things, like, rather than staying on your search arc, shouldn't you investigate? I would think you'd investigate a little bit, right? Alright. I'm basically just at this stage. Is this recovery? This yellow? Waiting for the enemy strike, which I presume will come soon. Yeah, these are the aircraft they're recovering. Takes way too long to recover these guys, huh? Looks like early 2000s graphics, J Street. I don't... You know, for the individual pilots, sure. What am I seeing here? I'm hearing radio, not seeing anything. So they reported the same... They saw the same thing, but they didn't say it was hostile. Yellow means unknown. Red means hostile. I don't think that's the enemy carrier fleet. Oh, shit. All right. Yellow, 10-plus aircraft on radar, inbound. Reported by USS Dewey. Radar detection. Distance, 84 nautical miles. Yorktown can't scramble. Foul deck. Lexington, scramble. I'm so glad I sent those aircraft up for the Yorktown. It's going to take a little while to get these aircraft airborne. Yorktown is retrieving aircraft. All right, so I'm assuming the timing does not line up to these aircraft being friendly. So let's go to our defensive air fighter direction, medium bogies, 2 sets of bogies of 10 plus each. I would like them to go after the, go identify the interceptor, you know, what we've spotted. Do I just have to say defend? I would assume they would go for the bad guys? I don't know. Oh, the aircraft aren't up yet. That's why. Okay, boys, get up. If those other aircraft that are just loitering could go attack the enemy, that would be great. Yorktown set to scramble. What I don't understand, and maybe it's just a lack of my own understanding, but I've got fighter direction here. I've got 3 groups of bogies, now a large group of 20. Could you just go engage? Like, I know you haven't spotted what they are, but you should be able to just tell them to go investigate, right? Oh, there you go. Closest patrol. All patrols intercept. Well, they're not a patrol technically, I guess. So I don't really know how scrambling works in this, but it'd be great if they would go intercept. I know caps intercept. Like, where are they going? These guys are getting awfully close. Searching target. These guys are trying to take off. Okay. Guys, we know there's guys out there. They should be marked as hostile by now. Can I just mark them as hostile? Now there's another group. Jesus Christ. This is gonna be ugly. Like, how close are they? There's 4 groups. Jesus. At this point, you wish this was CPAR. Yeah, I do wish there was a little bit more control over my aircraft that are up in the sky that I've told to intercept. I don't want you to start landing when we've got unknown bogies. In fact, maybe I should just tell the aircraft to stay away. That is an order I have. Maybe I should just make the Fido in charge. Maybe they'll automatically go get him then. Okay, maybe they're engaging now. Maybe that was the problem. Just trust the AI. Okay, boys.
Many bandits. Vector 090.
Many
5
bandits.
miles.
2 groups coming
Head
in.
no flow.
That just looks cool. Look at all those aircraft back there. Are they diving on someone? I'm not controlling this, so... Oh, there they are. Did they shoot at all, or did they just fly? One thing I have noticed with the demo is the air units don't necessarily do the best job of doing what you would want them to do. A little disorienting. Let's pause here for a second. Click on it. They're already pretty damn close to this task force. I'm assuming these guys are torpedo bombers. Oh, got one. He's going down. Good job. Got another. Hell yeah, brothers. Ah, so that one just crashed. Look at the flak already up. We're already in flak range. That's not great. So when you do this mode, the 3D mode, you can... Yep, these are torpedo bombers. For sure. I haven't seen any zeros yet, so pick them off, boys. Get them. Get them before they drop any fish. The Kate is an ugly bastard. Did it drop? There's no, that just, they must have just jettisoned. There's no way that was a drop torpedo. She's a dead stick. No engine. That was way too far away, I think, for that fish to accomplish anything. That's never good. Torpedo from astern. Someone's trying to avoid a torpedo. I don't really care if they sink my cruiser, to be honest. Shit. Look at all that flak streaming out there. Pause. I wish I could, like, just click on the enemy aircraft and go join them, though, because I would like to just see things from their points of view as they're coming in. Another one's down here. We must have hit the torpedo bombers with no escorts. Because it does seem like we're shooting them up pretty good, but it only would take 1 or 2 aircraft to pose a problem. What's this guy? Is this the dead stick, or is this guy flying in? Looks like she's ditching. These guys might be climbing up towards some dive bombers. Look at all that flak down there. God, I hate the camera angles. I hate the camera controls. I really hope they improve this.
Enemy bomber down in flames.
It would appear to me that they are attacking the Lexington. She looks like she's taking evasive action. Torpedo spotted astern of the Astoria. Yorktown evasive maneuvers. Where are you shooting? I don't see where their flak is hitting. Something is flying that way. There's a shadow of something. Oh shoot. Those gotta be dive bombers. Look at the flak way up there. This is why I need to be able to just click on the enemy aircraft to like see them. Is that a 0? Alright, so there are some enemy fighters now. And they're engaging my own fighters. I don't want to get hit by dive bombers, but at least we shot up some of their torpedo planes. Unfortunately, my Yorktown carriers didn't... Well, maybe they did get airborne. Looks like they're all airborne now. So we got 30 fighters trying to help. We got some... You can see... Ooh, look at that crew. Just plane going down in there. Hope it wasn't mine. It's cool, as long as it's not mine. Bandit vector very close. Angels high. Enemy aircraft shot down by Lexington. But I think they did okay, at least against that first strike of torpedo bombers. Do we have any report of any enemy task force yet? Look at that, just a furball out here. More enemy aircraft coming in. Dear God, I've only got 30 fighters. We'll blunt the attack. I don't know that we'll stop it. Bombers? Oh God. They still have their bombs. Let's follow the dive bombers. They're just in trails, so they must be... They haven't dropped. Where's the... They're going past the task force? Okay, maybe they're going to come back around and dive? Strange. Better than War on the Sea. Well, it's a demo right now. I am optimistic that it will be much better than War on the Sea on the tactical side. There is an operational component, but it is not a strategic war game. Got that one. So, I don't know the answer to that. I guess it depends what you're looking for. Yorktown's taking evasive action. Something just landed there. Hopefully they don't land any bombs on me. It looks beautiful, 100%. They're like little, I think these are rust splotches up here. Thank you for the follow, Chip. Appreciate it. And I'm sorry if I'm missing follows and whatevers. Apologize for that. I've been a little focused on fighting the camera, but then also playing. Okay. I thought it was a torpedo. Yeah, that's why I clicked on it, but it was only wake. There's a plane that just crashed over there. You can see the smoke trail down. We're under attack, Seabass. I have not spotted the Japanese yet, but they have launched a max effort rate against me. Got 30 aircraft in the air, or we did. We've lost one fighter out of Section 2 here. We had a bit of a cluster where I scrambled Yorktown after a lone float plane, and then they were on the deck when I was trying to get another strike up to deal with the end. Oh god, that's never good. Where are they shooting straight up at? Well, the dive bomber just dove. Oh no, hit. Front of the ship. Ablaze.
Enemy aircraft hit.
Looks like a couple of near misses. Dive bomb on the front of the Yorktown.
Very close. Angel 10 left.
Resume base course. Resuming base course. Aye, aye, sir.
So I'm guessing these aircraft are all toast. That's why I don't want to park the aircraft on the deck. I'm going to assume we can retrieve aircraft like that, but probably not land, not take anything off. And I haven't even launched my strikes yet. Okay. Maybe they can put the fire out. What's the, Yorktown's commencing more evasive action. Light fire and damage on the Yorktown. Heavy fire in the front of the ship. Fire level 66. Okay. Hangar is disabled. Elevator 0 is damaged. What does that do for our flight deck here for the Yorktown here? It still says we've got 30 aircraft below decks. Air operations suspended. One aircraft maybe above deck that can be salvaged. Lexington has not been hit yet. No report of any damage here. When you take torpedoes, they tell you on the radio here that you took a torpedo hit, but no one's saying that here. Looks like we've lost 2 fighters so far. McCluskey, get 'em, boys. A lot of flag over here. It looks like that's the York, near the York. Well, they could be going for either of those cannons. friendly fighters flying through flak. Brave boys, brave. That's got to be a 0. That's not an aircraft that's maneuvering to avoid you. I wonder if you couldn't follow it. If that's the only damage Yorktown takes, I'd be very pleased, but... No! There's a fire on the Lexington. Is that a torpedo hit? Or is that a bomb hit? It's a fire deep in the ship. Lexington targeted by torpedo aircraft now. Must be a second squadron of torpedo bombers coming in. Both our aircraft carriers are on fire right now. They're being targeted by torpedo bombers. Where's the flak? I want more tracers. 2 carriers are on fire though. That's never good. Alright, so... Magazine? The bomb magazine? That's where the fire is? That's not good. Elevator DC is destroyed on the Yorktown. So that'll slow things, but not necessarily disable them. It was already in the upright position. How many more aircraft have not attacked yet? These guys are retreating. Do we really still have another 30 aircraft that haven't attacked yet? Because if that's true, my cap is probably mostly spent.
Romeo, many buggies. Sector 350, 20 miles. Angels high.
Alright, we got more bogies coming in. It looks like the Yorktown's fire might have been put out. Just got some bomb craters on the front of the flight deck. Hopefully that doesn't prevent us from operating off her. We don't... No air ops? Does that mean I can't do air ops? Or does that just mean there isn't any ongoing right now? Secondary magazine. Man, Lexington just really has a lot of damage. So there's more enemy aircraft 20 miles out. I'm assuming that's these guys. 10 and 20.
Enemy aircraft hit. He's going down.
I got another one.
Romeo, enemy snooper. Sector 340, 20 miles. Angels high.
I'm not worried about the snooper. I don't want to throw aircraft on aircraft carriers that are on fire up on the deck to try and launch a strike. Air signals an enemy raid en route to our position bearing 22, not 197 miles? Where? Are those land-based air? The game did reference that. Okay, the fire's out on the Lex too. That's good. I don't know where to strike. Also, more enemy aircraft incoming. I don't particularly want to throw. Zeros, or what are these guys? Oh my god. Why can't I just click on what I want to click on? Or why can't I just like see the enemy? I shouldn't have to. These are probably zeros though. They look like they're probably zeros. Anyway, that one looks like it's a zero. Is the fleet being attacked again? Are they already in range? Well, that definitely looks like it's a torpedo strike based on where the flak is hitting. That's not good. I heard left hard rudder. There fish in the water already? They're astern of the ship, though, which is interesting. At least one of them's been shot down. Dive bombers. You got a flight of enemy aircraft over here. Well, we've got multiple we've got multiple elevators. So if I cripple their fleet and they can't launch more airstrikes, then maybe I could just take my dear sweet time getting an aircraft a strike going. But these dive bombers look like they're largely coming in okay. Yorktown spotted torpedoes. Torpedo spotted to port.
Many bandits. Vector 340, 5 miles. Angels high.
Gotta imagine after all this fighting, my fighters might be a little low on ammo, too. Where are the torpedoes spotted? I wish I knew. Get him, McCluskey. Get him! Alright, you go for the bombers, dude. The Zeros are annoying and a concern to some extent, but go for the bombers. We've now lost 3, 4, 5. We've lost quite a few aircraft. He was going after another one of my boys down here. I'd like to just stick with an enemy dive bomber force, so if we're gonna spot these guys, this formation here is largely coming in untouched by the looks of it. Yorktown's commencing evasive. Can we zoom in down here? God damn it. It really wants me to, when I double click, if I've already clicked on the aircraft, it like just goes down to the seafloor. But this is a distressingly large dive bomber formation. Like, distressingly large and intact. Carriers are right down there. Going for the lead. At least damaged it. It's smoking. This one's a goner. Alright. I don't know how I switch between aircraft, but it's moderately frustrating. We're definitely weakening. Oh no, they're in the dive. Oh boy, that's never a good thing. One bomb on Yorktown's bow, several near misses. Well, this is actually Lexington. Did that not hit it? Did it not damage the bow of... It does say flooding on the front. I don't see a fire, at least. It looked like 4 or 5 bombs hit off the bow. One looked like it might have hit the bow. I'm generally thrilled. God, I just love the flames of those aircraft as they burn and crash into the ground or into the ocean. It's so fucking cool looking. Is that a 0 over here? Whatever it is, it looks like it's going to hit the water. Flight deck forward is damaged. Hopefully it's not destroyed. Flight deck mid is damaged. Lexington has damaged flight decks. I don't know if that means they can't do air operations or they just aren't right now, but I am... Alright, aircraft are falling around Yorktown. Damaged flight deck, disabled mid-flight deck. Can you take off with a mid-damaged flight deck? Can you land? You just need the rear, right? I would assume damage means it's still operable, whereas disabled means it is at least temporarily inoperable.
Flash, one bomber.
Okay. Maybe we can... If I can get the rest of my aircraft up, maybe we can launch a strike. What time is it anyway? It's only 9 a.m. Dear Lord. The enemy's lost a lot of aircraft. Granted, I've lost at least half my fighters, maybe more. Ugh. I'm annoyed I didn't detect the enemy on my recon flights. I should have. As in, I should have done a better job, not as in I, you know, was owed it. Those are zeros. It looks like we're dogfighting at this point. McCuskey, get out of there! You gotta make it to Midway, bro! Whoa. Bail out! Well, maybe you're still alive, I don't know. It's sure taking a pounding. Got a wingman on that zero trying to... The dogfighting in this game is so much better than War on the Sea. War on the Sea is so just like, blah, for its aerial combat. It's like, well, the planes exist.
5 miles.
I could recall my aircraft, I believe, if we think the enemy attacks are done. I don't know if they can land anywhere, though. These, I think, are assuming are fighters, so I would think the bulk of the airstrikes are done. Are they both unable to launch airstrikes? I don't particularly want to send bombers up when there's enemy zeros just flying around. So it looks like we're down to 10 fighters on the Yorktown, 8 on the Lexington, which would mean we've lost 13 aircraft, so almost half, but not half, but almost half. Yeah, I want these enemy fighters gone before I do any air ops with bombers. It doesn't say destroyed, though. It says disabled, which makes me think maybe that can be fixed. But maybe not. Guys. Alright. Can I recall? I just don't know if they have anywhere to land. Oh no. Crash. Aww. Well. Well, that's what happens with demos that are in beta. They do have crashes. We'll probably play this again tomorrow as well, but it is 1 o'clock, so I do need to wrap this up here. Maybe we'll do better and we'll have a raid where we can actually see where the enemy is and launch a strike against them. That could be fun. I hope you guys did enjoy this this look at Task Force Admiral. The demo is available on Steam if you want to check it out. They do have that Kickstarter that they're running as well here if you want to check that out. But thanks again for coming out, guys. I appreciate it. I hope you guys had a good time at the stream. Alessandro, thank you for the follow. And Engine, thank you for the follow. Chip Trash, thank you for the follow. Yeoman, Michael, Derty, thank you for the follow. They Gone, thank you for the resub. Wolfpack, thank you for the resub. I appreciate it, dude. I don't know if I missed you in the chat, but thank you. And then to the folks on YouTube, first time we've streamed on YouTube in quite some time. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'm going to sign off here today. Until next time, this is the Historical Gamer saying once again, thank you very much for watching. And until next time, I'm out. Bye-bye.